Hello. So, got the pins out of my thingy, but because it's had pins in for 6 weeks, that is as far as I can. It's as far as I can bend the little guy. So I have to do like finger exercises. Anyway, but okay. So I went to the hospital. I'm not very good with hospitals. Kind of freak me out, and I do get stressed. I get anxious. That's just my body starts going like, oh, what the fuck are they going to do to me in here? Don't blame it. And so I went and had the pins removed yesterday. It's a 15-minute appointment. She gets a pair of pliers and she's pulling these metal pins out my finger. I don't know, it didn't really hurt. It was just weird. It was a bit like, I got a bit squeamish about it. But it's fine. And then that was at 1 o'clock. And then I had this event to work for a non-profit, and we had the event we were going to. And I just felt so exhausted all afternoon that rather than network like I was supposed to do at this event, I went and fell asleep on the grass, like actually fell asleep. And I hid under a table so that I could do so. I lay down because, you know, like when you've got a table at an event, it was a mental health thing. We were doing equine facilitated. We took a mini pony, and the table that we had on had a tablecloth on it, and I rolled myself under the table, and I was still holding on to the mini pony, who doesn't go anywhere. She had a hay net. She was just standing there eating, and I actually fell asleep. Thankfully, there were other people there that were not quite as sleepy as me to actually do the stuff we were supposed to be doing at the event. But basically what I did yesterday afternoon is I needed to sleep a lot and I needed to eat a lot. And I imagine that that's because my body found it a bit stressful going to the hospital and having metal pulled out of my finger. And so it was just like, all right, tired, having to deal with that. And I still really appreciate that I can just do that. You know what had happened before when I had an eating disorder? Must soldier on, must storm around this event and network with people and walk around and stuff. And I was just like, go sleep under the table. Because my body needed rest. And you know how healthy that is, to be able to rest when your body needs rest. You know how healthy it is to be able to just eat because you need to eat, not because it's even a mealtime, just because you're like, well, evidently I need more food today. It's a wonderful thing. And the most wonderful thing about being fully recovered is that there's no stress or anxiety around it. The only thing I really felt stressed about was thinking, when is this fucking event going to end? Because I want to go home and have a nap. And that's exactly what I did as soon as I could get out of there. That was the only thing that was actually stressing me out, was like, I don't want to be here. I need to go home and have a nap. I'll have a nap under the table in the meantime. Next best thing I could do. But, you know, before it would have been all this anxiety, well, I can't stop still, all that shit. Oh, I love being fully recovered. All right, this is an email from Rachel. Rachel says, I'm 7 months into recovery. I've had a few setbacks, but overall it's going very well. However, my mother has an obvious eating disorder and is in denial about it. It used to be triggering, but now as I continue with recovery, it's just sad to see her struggle, and I don't want to see her die with her eating disorder. Since I've been in recovery, she has been extra defensive and weird around me, especially when it comes to food and eating. I'm not sure what to do or if I should do anything at this point. I feel for you. Problem is, if a person with an eating disorder doesn't want help, they're really difficult to help. I should know, because I was somebody that didn't want help. That doesn't mean that you lose hope. It just, you've got to kind of create that emotional distance so that you don't feel responsible for your mum's recovery or lack of it. And I know that's really difficult because, especially if you are getting yourself into a better place, you just wish, it's just like you could be in this, but you know how painful it is to be there, and you also know the way out, and it can be just really frustrating to be living with somebody that doesn't even want to try and get out and is in denial and things like that. I think that from the most important thing, though, is that you don't find it triggering. And you said that you don't find it triggering anymore, and thank God for that, because that's so important. Because if you don't find it triggering, then you will continue to recover yourself. And the best thing that you can do for yourself and anybody else around you is to get yourself into the best state of health possible. So congratulations, because that is the difficult part, isn't it? Is not allowing yourself to be be triggered by somebody else with an eating disorder. That's hard. Like that's excellent that you don't feel that way. It's really sad that you feel sad for your mum. That's really sad. You can only do your best. Like you said, the main thing that you need to do is you need to get yourself fully recovered. That's the number one thing. And as for your relationship with your mum, then I guess that you have to create definitely this sense of, I can try my best, but I'm not expecting anything radical to happen. If someone doesn't want to hear it, it's actually really limited to what you can do, but you can tell the truth. And I found that important, is that people told me the truth. People told me you're restricting food, even when I tried to convince them that I wasn't. But I also worried that that might be difficult for you in your stage of recovery. So I think until you feel that you are fully recovered or very close to it, you should just focus on you. And then maybe later on down the line, when you're really secure in your recovery, that's when you start pushing a bit more and telling the truth a bit more. And you can tell the truth in a way that's not accusatory and that's not mean, but just tell the truth. You're not eating enough food. Just tell the truth. I used to hate it when people told me the truth, but it also used to remind me that I was not okay, and that was very important. Rachel, I hope you're doing all right. Let us know how you're getting on, and maybe how your mum's getting on as well. The other thing that I wanted to say today is that some of you might have seen a podcast that I did about a friend of mine and a client called Sarah. She was a friend first, though. Most of my clients are friends first, clients second. And Sarah died of anorexia. The saddest thing was she was doing so well. She was like a gift to work with. I told her to eat and she went and ate. I told her you can eat as much as you want, and she actually cried when I told her that the first time, because she'd been through 30 years of treatment, and it'd always been, people putting her on meal plans and telling her to restrict. No wonder she hadn't recovered. And the saddest thing is when she died, she was doing really well. I explain all that in the podcast. I'm not going to go into too much of that now. But that experience, you know me. If you've been listening to my podcast, watching these YouTube videos, you know that I am not enthralled with the treatment system the way it is. You know what I feel about that. I wasn't even in it, and I'm really glad, because I didn't go into treatment and I'm still alive. And my friend Sarah went into treatment for 30 years and she's dead. So that's got to tell you something. And I speak to hundreds, thousands of people a year about their eating disorder. And most of them, unlike me, have been in treatment, because that's what you do actually when you have an eating disorder. If you've got any fucking sense, you go into treatment, or not, it would seem, because I don't have any sense and I didn't go into treatment. I did just fine. But that's the path that one would think would take. Oh, I have an eating disorder, I should seek help for this, I should go into treatment. And treatment ends up a lot of the time making people worse, and that's so not okay. It's not okay on any level. And I think that one of the reasons for this is that the treatment system that we currently have is founded on theory, that's unfounded theory, that's just made up by old white men who considered themselves psychotherapists and thought that they knew why people had eating disorders, why people like me had eating disorders. I don't know, because we were like hysterical women or something like that. And I know treatment's changed a lot, and a lot of treatment centres will tell you that, no, of course, but that's the underpinning of a lot of it. And it's problematic. Now, if you look at most other mental health issues, the treatment system for that mental health issue has been founded by people who have recovered or who have had direct experience with that mental health issue. Great example, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and actually the whole addiction treatment system. You walk into an addiction centre and you will find that the staff have all recovered from addiction. They probably don't even let people be staff unless they have first-hand experience with addiction, and that's exactly how it should be. And I'm so tired of the eating disorder treatment system, and I'm really tired of trying to change it from the inside, because I've played nice. I played nice for years. I've gone to the conferences, I've submitted proposals, I've gone and spoken at them. And now I'm on all of the committees. I'm actually was on the scientific planning committee for one of the major eating disorder conferences. And this week I just said, you know what? I'm out. I'm done. I'm so done. I'm not going to be part of this system. Even if I'm there on the inside trying to change it, I'm just done with it. It's not happening fast enough for me. Too impatient. And so I'm gonna do things my way for a little bit, and anybody that wants to help with that is welcome to. There's a couple of ideas, and one of them, and this is an idea I've had dreamt of for a long time. I just don't have the bandwidth to do it on my own. But you know, somebody's come up and said, I'd be interested in doing this with you. One of them is to form a recovery centre, which would be, I guess, my version of a treatment centre, based on unrestricted eating, body size, diversity, acceptance, not just acceptance, but welcoming, eating disorders in people in all shapes and sizes, focusing on not therapy, not making people go to 10 therapy groups a week, but actually focusing on neural rewiring and doing it, actually working out with somebody what are the things that you need to rewire and how are we going to do that and how are we going to support you in doing that. But most of all, unrestricted eating, without conditions, unconditional unrestricted eating, regardless of the size of your body. So those are the things that I'd want in a treatment centre. But I'd love to ask you, what would you want to see in a treatment centre? Because if I have anything to do with a treatment centre, it is going to be based on what people with lived experience of an eating disorder think it should be based on. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. Bye.